What if I told you I get way more quality women in less time, spending less energy and much less money than guys stuck on dating apps for hours and hours swiping, looking for a match, and ending up ultimately on date after date after date where they're just spending money and it ultimately goes nowhere for the most part? Here's exactly how I do that for myself. I meet women naturally. You have to spend time getting your wardrobe together because the first impression that you give a woman when she first meets you actually matters quite a lot. You want to put your best foot forward, spend time first and foremost getting your wardrobe together, have a couple of outfits that you can wear to daytime venues, have a couple of outfits that you can wear to nice evening venues. Number two, you have to learn the art of introducing yourself to beautiful women. You have to have strong opening lines, you have to have strong hooks, you have to know how to transition that strong first impression open and hook into what I call a conversation that leads to a whole interaction where you can then seed a date to meet up and spend more time together, or you can close the deal same day or night that you meet the woman. But that's the structure that I use to actually meet more high quality women in less time, using less energy, and spending less money. When you put on something nice and step out to a daytime venue or a nighttime venue, you are going to go out and actually exercise some cold approach. You're going to go up to women that you find appealing visually and you're going to introduce yourself to them. Excuse me, I thought you looked really nice and I just had to give you that compliment. Oh, thank you so much, the woman says. I'll reply, absolutely. What brought you out today or tonight? Just out doing some shopping or just out waiting for a friend to come. We're going to have a drink. We're going to go into the four logistical questions to actually hook the interaction. And that's going to go, what brought you out? Who are you here with? What are you doing later? What do you have going on later this week or this weekend? That's going to be a real seamless transition that's going to get you into an actual conversation with the woman. In the conversation stage with the woman, you're actually going to get to know her past, present, and future. And you're going to dig deep on the different tidbits of information that you get from her responses. So it doesn't feel like an interview, but more of a curious back and forth flow. And you want to use statements, make comments that show some intrigue from you, that stimulates her imagination and gets her thinking and elaborating and expanding further in her responses. That right there is going to last you from about 15 minutes to 45 minutes into a dialogue. From there, you can do one of two things. You can venue change with the woman. If you're at a mall, for example, or a grocery store, you can suggest going and grabbing some frozen yogurt or a smoothie right then and there. If you're at an evening venue, then what you can do is offer to go to a different bar or lounge, maybe with a nice view, maybe with a great drink menu, ideally somewhere she's never been, somewhere that's going to be kind of adventurous, exciting to go to. So you're getting on what we call an instant date at that point. The instant date is what allows you to save the majority of your time, energy, and money because you're not sitting there setting up a whole profile, purchasing cameras, doing looks maxing, touching your eyebrows up, putting on foundation, and getting your whole Tinder profile looking in a way where a woman would want to match with you just based off of your image. And that's a key point that I really want to make. The whole looks maxing idea that if you're not in the top, let's say 5% of men on dating apps and if you're not those guys, women are not going to match with you. Well, if you're naturally a model-esque looking dude, fantastic, maybe dating apps make sense. But for most guys, that isn't you. And I'm not going to spend hours and days investing into different items and spending my time and energy beautifying myself to have a attractive dating profile. I'm just not going to do that. Like, that's not the kind of man I am. I'd much rather do different things, such as talk to women or work on my business. So that's a really key point. But not even that. That doesn't even take into account the time you spend on the app trying to get matched, but then coming up with clever opening lines and conversation flows with a person that you don't even know. It's weird and creepy. You're sitting here actually spending time and energy thinking of ways to respond to a girl that is going to catch your interest and attention among all the other dudes on the app that she's already matching with. You're texting your buddies about it in your group chat, trying to figure out how should I respond to this. Bro, you don't have time for that. And it's unnecessary. The beauty of walking up to a woman and presenting yourself, she can feel your energy, she can feel your vibe, and she can get the first impression that you give off. So if you have a strong level of self-development and you carry yourself appropriately as a man, most women will be intrigued in you right when they meet you face to face in person. You see, that is the beauty. And you cannot even convey that through a dating app because she's only seeing a 2D image of you. Carrying on, you need to structure your night itself out. And what I mean by that is when you go out, you're trying to go for an instant date. But more importantly, whenever you go out and introduce yourself to a woman, 5 minutes into the conversation, you might discover she's a whack female. At that point, I would eject. You see, if you meet up with a woman on a date that you met off Tinder, it would be incredibly rude and untactful to just leave the date 5 minutes into it, right? It would just it wouldn't be a good look socially, and it's just unnecessary to treat people like that, you know? So you have a bit of an obligation to follow through on dates that you set up online. However, in person, I can just go, you know what? It was really nice meeting y'all and have a fantastic evening, and literally turn left and open another girl at the same lounge because we all met as strangers. There is no obligation for me to stay in a long conversation. I'm always going to be polite and respectful, but I can exit the conversation whenever I choose. So I'll open the next woman. It might be 10 minutes that I've gone out. I've opened one group of girls, talked to them for 5 minutes, got some basic information, wasn't feeling the vibe or whatever they said. Open this woman over here, same open, same hook, get into the 4 logistical questions, start getting to know her a little bit. Maybe I'm not liking the mindset with this woman. But anyway, look, I just wanted to give you that compliment. Enjoy the rest of your night. Boom. Walk to a different lounge or go to a different section of the lounge and open a different woman. I'm 3 women in, 3 little instant dates in, and I've only been in the venue for 30 minutes or less. Now imagine I do that for 2 or 3 hours. Now I'm meeting 15, 20, maybe 25 women in one single evening, and I've not even spent money at this point. It's just me out. Maybe I buy myself a drink, but there's no obligation to spend money on a woman who you just met unless you're going to venue change or unless you're going to be in the interaction so long that when you order your next drink, as a gentleman, you offer her one as well. But this isn't a whole date. I'm not buying nobody lunch or dinner. Maybe I'm spending money for 1 or 2 drinks on a woman at most who I just met randomly out in the evening. So it just saves so much money, so much energy, so much time. It's just so much more efficient. It doesn't make sense to use dating apps, is the moral message of this video. And I'm giving you the structure. I can only go so deep into the structure, in this short video. But what I want you to do, if this kind of clicks in your mind and makes sense as to how this would be more efficient and effective than using some kind of dating app strategy, what I want you to do is comment the word date on this video, and I will send you a DM and we'll set up one free consultation session where I can learn a little bit about you, where you live currently, what your current wardrobe is like, what venues do you like to go to in your personal time. And I will actually give you a bit of a strategy and action plan for how you can start meeting women naturally and have some structure behind it and start getting legitimate results. So if you're tired of the churn and burn of the dating app world and you want to meet women in person, but you don't know how, comment the word date and I'll help you get started.